Okay, so we're now going to talk about the last book of the trilogy, Emo. Shall we just start with the title? What is Emo?
Oh, well, I was at a book launch and I ran into this friend of mine, and his son was there, and the son was dressed in kind of like black, and sort of had this quite an extravagant kind of outfit. And I said, well, what kind of outfit's that? He said, well, it's not emo. I said, what's emo? And he began to outline to me, the style emo, and how it's kind of like gothic, and how it's this very whiny kind of music, and very sentimental, and kind of extravagantly over the top, and so on. And I kind of didn't want to hear very much more, because I just loved the idea of a style called emo. I thought that's got to be the title of my next book, Emo. So it very much grew from the word emo, and the whole idea of extravagant, unrestrained emotionalism.
Yeah, there was I think you wrote an essay in the Landfall that you edited that seemed to be indicating the interest in emotionalism in writing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's in terms of writing, it's been in this series of books from the very beginning, because
they're pretty extreme.
Yeah, they're extreme, and also the apparent extremity was, to me, masking this kind of sentimental extremism, because in the late 18th century there was this kind of style for sentimentality. There was a book called The Man of Sentiment, which was all about this guy who went around pretty much swooning every time he saw a dead sparrow or something like that. And
the same bloody flies going back.
Yes, that's right. It's decided to star again. It's just the sort of pseudo nature of this book, the fact that he quite happily turned starving peasants out of his tenants' cottages and so on, while really worrying about the poor kitten or the sparrow, which just kind of gave sentimentality a bad name.
I think this Japanese concept of, I think it's aware or something, where you sort of have this you have this incredible empathy for a grasshopper or something, and while you're kind of slaughtering a village, you sort of,
Oh, and the same with the Romans, given their ways of enslaving whole populations and burning everything down. In the Aeneid, Virgil lands on the coast of Africa and he sees this wall with a picture of the sufferings of the Trojans, and he says, "Oh, we're in a good place here because they understand lacrimae rerum, or the teary nature of things, the emotion behind them." And so it isn't that I'm unaware of the suspect nature of enshrining emotionalism at the sort of heart of your project. It's just that I don't see any alternatives, and also I'm always interested in the return of the repressed, and the bad name that was given to sentimentality in the 18th century kind of has lasted all the way through modernism and so on, and it got to the point where facile, ironic knowingness becomes the only permissible response. And I kind of want people to have a reaction, like looking at it and saying, this is too much for me, or you've taken it too far. I mean, I think Billy Wilder said nobody ever went to see a movie because they heard it came in under budget. And we're always attracted to excess in things, and I just don't think there's any interest in not being excessive.